A new month means a new artist down at the Omineca Arts Centre. Today we're going to head down there and feature actually more than one artist. This month, a group of CNC students, part of the local artist spotlight. We're going to have that, some Canadian movies, and some more of the Wings, and some more on CKPG today. Here inside the Omineca Arts Centre for this local artist spotlight with actually a bunch of local artists here, part of the CNC web and graphic design program. So lucky to have Andrea and Edward with us today. Maybe Andrea, we'll start with you here. Talk to me a little bit about what it's like to have an exhibition here inside the Omineca Arts Centre.
Well, it's my first time having an exhibition here, so it's pretty exciting. I think I can speak for the other students safely by saying that they're probably pretty excited as well. But I personally don't have my art up. I will have a QR code because I'm one of the web stream students. So my stuff is mostly online and it's digital artwork, but there's a few students like that too.
I like it.
But there's a lot of great artwork here. So.
Okay, one of them, the artwork is actually behind us here, Edward's. How exciting is it for you to be here and have your artwork up on the wall? It probably must be kind of surreal.
It's kind of scary, but as similar to hers, it's my first experience as well, like going artworks on the wall and then people coming in to see it. Scared, excited, paranoid, I don't know. It's a mixture of feelings right now. But yeah, this will be the first time my artwork will actually be out in the world and people will be seeing it, maybe critiquing it. Yeah. But that's fine. That's part of how you grow, right?
I'll critique it. It looks very good. I'll tell you that. Walk me through a little bit about why you got into the web and graphic design program and what you hope to do.
So that's a kind of interesting story. Growing up as well, like my mom is artist as well, so I got inspired by her like very much. As a kid, I used to go on all these competitions and stuff. But, you know, as you become teenage and then you're like, artwork is like silly thing to do. So I, kind of left it there. And then I came to Canada like in 2022. And then I was like, you know what? I'm feeling that urge that I should follow my passion, which I stopped apparently. So that's where I was like, I was searching, and then apparently at CNC, they had this web and graphic designing program, which was like perfectly fitting what I needed at that point. And yeah, honestly, it's the best decision I took.
Talk to me a little bit about what your inspiration was to get into the web and graphic design program.
Well, most of my life I did administrative jobs, and I don't know, I guess I hit like a midlife crisis sort of a little early because, I'm not quite midlife yet, but I just needed to do something different with my life. And I used to draw when I was a child, and I kind of let that go. And then I thought, you know what would be great is if I could just do this right now, start again, start over, go back to college. And it's just been amazing. So that's like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that look back at their life and think, hey, I need to do something different. And I'm really glad that I have.
Yeah, that is a very cool story as well. You guys both got great stories today. Andrea, so some of the things that you can scan through the QR code to get your images up, what are some of your highlights from the program, things that you're displaying online there?
I have some graphic illustrations that I did in Adobe Illustrator that I absolutely love. And it's funny because I thought I would just be strictly doing web design stuff. So getting into that was really interesting. And I'm proud of those. Also, a website, I've done probably about 4 or 5 now. Yep. So they'll be on my portfolio. And then I have a cartoon that I did for my own little candle company that I had for a little bit. And that I did in Adobe Animate. And I'm really proud of that because I did the voice work in it with my son as well.
Oh, so, wow. That's super cool.
Yeah. And every time I watch it, I'm like, this is so cool. Like,
that's such a cool, that's a cool moment.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll be able to have that on my website too. And then people can check that out.
Now, I'll ask each of you this. We'll go to Edward first here. What was the most challenging part of making the art that we either see on the wall or for Andrea online? But like, there's so many different programs. So I'm curious to hear from you what the most challenging part of this was.
The most challenging, I would say, finding mock-ups. from like a funnier perspective, yeah, mock-ups. But like if I go into the technicality of designing it itself, probably it would be get to know the application which you're using, like Illustrator and Photoshop and the other similar kinds.
Andrea, what about you?
I think finding mock-ups was pretty hard, but learning the technology, some of it was a little bit hard to wrap my head around. And
Yeah, I can understand.
yeah, some of it's quite hard. Like Adobe Animate, I thought was great. When I started it, it was hard, and I got it, and then I did After Effects, and I was like, "What? This is so hard."
I just saw producer Zach's face laugh behind the camera because he knows as well.
But now I know how to use it. It's like, wow, this is amazing. I can do so much with it. But it's like that first initial time when you open up that program, you're like, where is everything? Where's this button? Where's that button? How do I do this? But you do get it, and when you get it, it's just
Magical.
it's awesome. You're like, yes, now I got this. So it's cool.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for your time today. We could sit here and talk about all the art in here for hours because there's so much of it. You got to come down here to the Omineca Arts Centre and check it out yourself. They're also hosting a bottle drive. We'll put the details on ckpgtoday.ca for that. Supports the program and you guys a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, it does. And the students next year,
Okay.
they'll have some funding for their catalog and the stuff that they're going to do. So
Awesome. Okay. And then there's workshops as well here at the Omineca Arts Centre as always, and we'll link all of the details and all that online at ckpgtoday.ca. Thank you both, Andrea and Edward. And yeah, congratulations on what looks like a great exhibit here.
Thanks a lot.
thank you.
Local Artist Spotlight on CKPG Today is brought to you by Omineca Arts Centre, a safe space for creativity to flourish.
Tis the time of year. It's very dusty outside. Things are starting to grow, starting to bloom. There's probably the A word is very, very front of mind. Allergies. That's what I'm talking about with Brianna today from the 3rd Avenue Pharmacy. Thanks so much for making the time to chat.
Yeah, no worries. Glad to be here.
So tell me, allergies now, this is probably some of the busy seasons as a pharmacist, eh?
Yeah, for sure. Lots of people coming in sort of complaining of your usual allergy symptoms. So runny nose, itchy, teary eyes, congestion, potentially sneezing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so is dust a more common thing to get allergies from, or are we, because the pollen kind of thing in Prince George takes a while. It's not till May that we really get that, right?
Yeah, dust for sure, especially like right now with all the street sweepers out and that sort of thing. And then we see pollen a little bit later on. So those are our two kind of pretty common sort of seasonal allergies around this time of year and coming up in the near future.
Yeah, and then the important thing to know for people watching this, I guess, is not every time you get a sore throat or your nose is runny, you don't need to go see your doctor. There's better solutions.
Yeah, for sure. As a pharmacist, there's lots of over-the-counter options that we can recommend, just depending on symptom severity, how frequent the symptoms are happening. And actually, right now, it's a little bit newer, but allergies are a minor ailment that we can potentially prescribe for. So there's some prescription options we can potentially prescribe in certain circumstances, just depending on what people have tried over the counter.
Yeah. What are some of the most common questions you get? Probably just my throat is sore. What's going on? Is that?
Yeah, kind of. Usually people have the symptoms and they're like, what's happening? And you kind of go through sort of trying to figure out whether it's cough or cold or allergies.
Yeah, it's all going around right now.
Exactly. So trying to decipher between that and then going over what might be the best option based on patient preference and, like I said, severity of symptoms as well as frequency of them.
Now, the other side of this is maybe your allergies do get bad enough, your airways are pretty restricted or that kind of thing. When is a good time to know when to seek some further help, whether it's the primary care center or the emerge?
Yeah, for sure. I always tell people, like, at all, if there's any shortness of breath, like, for sure, go follow up with the doctor. Also, too, if you are like a chronic asthma sufferer, COPD, that sort of thing, you have like compromised airways, you definitely should be following up just because those two things sort of go hand in hand. So might be some deeper diving that the doctor would need to do to make sure you get the right treatment.
No kidding. Asthma, I was going to ask about puffers here. So people have their puffers, maybe they're expired, empty, whatever. Or is that part of the thing the pharmacist can kind of deal with now or not yet?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So if they're sort of a current patient, they are chronically using inhalers, there is some instances where we can provide emergency supplies, but we cannot renew puffers sort of ongoing just because lung conditions can lead to infections, all these other sorts of things. So we want to make sure they're being followed by a physician.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. What would be your biggest tip to someone who maybe struggles with allergies, maybe they're worried about their lifestyle? Would you say stay inside a little bit more? Would you say get an air purifier, go outside more?
Yeah, no, staying inside, air purifier, those are all really good, like what we call non-pharmacological options, as well as like if we're, say, when we're in pollen season, kind of rinsing off, making sure you're not drying clothes outside, those sort of things. That is all sort of non-pharmacological options that are usually helpful for most people.
Awesome. Well, yeah, there's definitely there's just so much going on, whether it's the dust and then you get the pollen and then you get maybe wildfire smoke. I mean, we cross our fingers and hope not.
Yeah, for sure.
But is there, as far as ages of people experiencing allergies, because I've always wondered this, how much does it change over a person's lifetime? I feel like it probably changes quite a bit, hey?
Yeah, for sure. We do see some people getting allergies later on in life and they're like, well, it might not be allergies because I never had allergies before. Well, that's not necessarily always the case, but we definitely see kids through elderly as well, so it can affect everybody, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, anybody going to be taken down by the allergy monster. That's just how it goes. Thanks so much for the time today, Brianna. Appreciate it. Of course, if you have any specific questions, you go visit Brianna or her colleagues at the 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, Heart Drugs, or the Phoenix Pharmacy as well. Yeah, always great to talk to you and get a little bit more educated about allergies because, yeah, if it doesn't affect you, you surely know someone it does affect.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks
so much, Caden.
Miss an episode? That's okay, life gets busy. We get it. Or maybe you didn't miss anything, but you're here to watch that one feature again because honestly, it was that good. No judgment. Here's the good news. You can relive every moment of the CKPG Today Show whenever you want. Head over to ckpgtoday.ca, click on the Today Show tab, and voila. So grab some snacks, kick back, and binge away because let's face it, life's too short to miss out on great local TV.
This picture, this is showing the first train that ever arrived here in Prince George on the PGE extension in 1952. You know what I bet these people wish they had? Well, probably a clock to tell them when they should get on this thing because it seems a little pandemonium to me. But honestly, train stations used to have clocks. Very original, antique, special clocks. We're going to take a look at one of those in the archives here at the Central BC Railway and Forestry Museum. Inside the archives here in the Central BC Railway and Forestry Museum. And Alicia, what do you got for us today? What's on the shelf?
I got a clock for you today.
It's time.
It is time. That was bad. So we have this clock.
Okay.
It's from northern BC, and you could find a clock just like this in almost any small train station in BC.
Really? Okay, why does it go to 31, the days of the month? So it's an
Yes.
everything clock.
It's an everything clock. This would have been where people came in because when they're taking the trains, they're getting places. They need to know what time it is.
Right? I guess nobody had Apple Watches back
Your train's got to be on time.
then. Your train has to be on time. That's pretty cool. So I guess this kind of ties in like the history of train stations in northern BC. Like just broadly, there were trillions of them.
There were so many of them, and they got moved around all the time. Our Penny Station is a great example because Penny started its life as Lindup Station. Lindup didn't flourish, so they moved it on to Penny.
What a crazy, imagine, hey, it's like, it didn't work. We're just going to pick it up and...
Well, they had
That's what they
kits
did.
for a lot of them. It was almost like a construction kit. They'd have all the parts. They'd build the train station. They'd up and move it on the train rails to the next place they needed it.
Oh, they even moved it on the rails.
Yes, they did.
Interesting. That's wild. What would you say, Alicia, was the heyday of train stations in northern BC? Or, I mean, maybe just the 20th century? Is that fair?
It's hard because we've had a few different ones. Because really, the trains came up north in 1915, the first one.
Right.
After that, it took a while for the next one to come up, as we know. But really, trains were a good use of ways to get around the province because we didn't have roads up north as much.
Right. You know, it baffles me the fact that, and I don't think most people know, even the road to Vanderhoof was not paved until the 1950s.
And we didn't have a highway until the 60s up north. The John Hart Highway was built in the 1960s.
That's really baffling.
It's hard for us to think now, because we travel so much and we drive so far, that everyone hopped on the train.
That's the way to go. They hopped in cars just like the Nechako. Well,
Yes.
maybe not the normal people.
Not quite the fancy ones.
Yeah, maybe not the fancy ones, but
Not us up north.
yeah, no kidding. So basically, do they have clocks like this in train stations nowadays? I guess it's digital, really. Eh?
I would say
Yeah.
they actually might still have them. I haven't been in a train station for a bit.
It's fair. Like Grand Central Station, these kind of places probably have it for the lore.
I would say so. They've kept it because it belongs in the train station.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. The more you know here in the archives. This is pretty cool. Does it still work if you put it, like, I guess it's not batteries. It'd be
It's not
gears.
batteries, it's a wind up. So yes, it would still work if we turned it on.
Interesting. Cool. That's very cool. And do we have any idea when it ended its life?
Before 1976.
Okay, before 1976. That's when
Yes.
this went to rest. And how did you guys get it? Someone said, hey,
We
have it.
had it as a donation.
How about that?
Someone that worked on the railway his whole life, and he kept what he found.
I like it. It's finders keepers, as they say. That's funny. Okay, actually, quick as we wrap this up here, Alicia. People wondering, donating things to the museum here. You guys are looking for certain things in particular, right?
We look for stuff that has to do with central northern British Columbia, to do with railway and forestry. We actually have a whole bunch of information on our website if anyone's curious, or they can just give us a call.
Awesome. Okay, easy as that. Finders keepers, as they say, and then you can donate it to the museum. Thanks, Alicia.
Yeah.
Today's CKPG Snapshot takes us to the northern region of the Heart in Prince George. I say northern because the snow seems to stick around there longer than anywhere you could see around town. But a robin also sighted there by Kathy Neeson sends us this shot today. Beautiful shot, and you know that means spring is finally coming, maybe even coming to the Heart. Although some of the snow piles up there might disagree with that fact.
Here they come, another edition of War of the Wings here at the Black Clover. My goodness, look at the presentation. This is beautiful. Okay, tell me a little bit about these wings. What are they?
Perfect. So for our War of the Wings, we have our house smoked chicken wings tossed in our signature Baja barbecue sauce. It's a perfect balance of sweet and heat, I like to say, and it comes with coleslaw and fresh lime.
Okay, coleslaw and fresh lime. Thank you very much. Now, Commander Clinton, you know a thing or two about smoking. What do you think about these?
I like to see the grill marks. That means they've been finished. So render the fat on the wing just a little bit, and I'm excited for some smokiness.
And from an average perspective like me, Jen, what are you looking at?
They look delicious. Looks like a good amount of sauce on them, and just the scent coming off is just wonderful.
I didn't say it yet. You ready? Wing-a-ding-ding! Here we go, here at the Black Clover. Grab these wings. First bites, first impressions.
You can definitely get the sense that these were on a grill.
It totally falls off the bone.
Whoa, look at that. That's a good sign. That means they were. Oh, that looks delicious. Nice, moist wings. Get the lime flavor, got the smoky flavor. And it's cool that the house-made sauce is a really nice touch. I love the color of the lime on here as well, because I've learned over the years hosting this show, food is art. So I get a little bit of everything. You're licking your fingers. Is that good?
Yeah, we eat with our eyes. We do. These are great. These are sweet, forward, and not too spicy. I'd say these are maybe a 5 or a 6 on the heat-o-meter.
5 or a 6, Jen?
I give it like a 4 on the heat meter. Okay. But I really like spicy stuff. So
You can handle your spice, is what we've found out.
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna grab one of these too. I'm gonna go for this one because it's a nice. It was waving at me. Ready? Saucy, sweet, smoky. This is definitely approved here at the Black Clover. Another edition of War of the Wings. Come and check these out yourself, and then vote on your favorite online on ckpgtoday.ca. Without further ado, I'm gonna keep finishing these wings. So I'm Cadet Caden signing off with Commander Clinton and the General.
Hey there, got an idea or suggestion for the show? Reach out and connect through our social media or send us an email at letstalk@ckpgtoday.ca.
Prince George, a lot of great old buildings, right? No, all the great old ones, I think most of them burnt down. That's kind of how the story of this town goes. But one of the old ones we're going to look back on today, as I understand, held some fantastic events over its time and service. We're talking about the old Civic Center.
Today, looking back on a very sad old building in 1993, they called her the old girl. Yes, that's what they fondly called her, but the days were numbered for this old Prince George Civic Center before the new one was eventually built. Yes, that's the new Civic Center that we see today. It was only built in about 1994, right around the time of CN Center. So yeah, this Civic Center was a former Army drill hall built at the exhibition grounds during the Second World War. Some history to it too.
There you go. Old Civic Center. Yeah, I think everyone would agree. Thank goodness we got a new one in the 90s. Thank goodness. Almost time to expand and build that one bigger, isn't it? Thanks so much for watching today. We'll have more good stuff for you on the show tomorrow. Don't forget to head out there, try those wings in War of the Wings, and then vote for your favorite online at ckpgtoday.ca. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Bye for now.